Okay, so my name, as I said, was Julia Wheeler, and I'm the Education Development Nurse for the British Dermatological Nursing Group. And I work 2 days a week in that role, and I've been working for the last 14 months. And I also have another role working in the NHS as a dermatology outreach nurse. I work in Buckinghamshire, looking after acute patients with acute dermatological conditions during their admission. So it's a really varied, it's lovely to have those two roles. They complement each other really well. And for me, it's a really great privilege to come out of a very small dermatology department and have inspirational people like yourselves to feed off and inspire me through my clinical role. So conflicts of interest, as you know, I work for the BDNG, and I'm going to be speaking about them just now. And also, my attendance here at conference today has been sponsored by Sanofi and Almirall. So the purpose of my session really is to tell you a little bit about the British Dermatological Nursing Group, and also, in particular, the e-learning resources that we have been developing over recent months. So to start with, I'd like to tell you, first of all, what the objectives of our organisation are. And first and foremost, really, it is to promote high standards of care for dermatological patients in the UK. Obviously, we do that really through promoting the dermatology nurse, giving them recognition and helping them to develop their skills, and promoting and support education for nurses in their role in dermatology. So we've been striving to do this really since 1989, and we're a very established organisation now. And as Rebecca was saying this morning, we have 2,000, just shy of 2,000 members, which we're really proud about. We have a number of methods of supporting our members with education. We have our quarterly journal, which is British Dermatological Nursing, Dermatological Nursing Journal. We have charitable funds which enable people to engage with different conferences and attendance at events and things. We do email alerts as well, and various other things which just enable nurses to engage in education. Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it, with that music in the background.
Sorry.
That's
really
okay.
Distracting.
I'd just also like to say that we do have other members in our organisation. We don't just have nurses. We're very pleased to say that we have associate members from other organisations, such as other healthcare professionals like podiatrists, even a doctor. And we also have nurses internationally, so from other areas of the world, which is fantastic. So it was back in 2016 when the NMC, the Nursing and Midwifery Council, which is the organisation which is responsible for regulating nurses in the United Kingdom, they changed the system for revalidation, and they required nurses to carry out 35 hours of continued professional development. And 20 of those hours had to be guided learning which was going to be, in the classroom setting, really, or be able to demonstrate that you've been actively involved in an educational activity. And so really this was a motivation for us to get look at our refocus and relook at the work that we had in existence, and consider other ways which we could support our members to develop further in their education. And obviously there's several barriers really for our members to engage with education. Obviously, it's disproportionate very often for the salary of a nurse, to be able to engage in conferences and events like this, which are very expensive. Obviously, nurses as well have to find their own time to complete personal study. And One of the other requirements of our learning, it must be relevant to our practice, and finding relevant dermatological courses is also quite a challenge. So we could see that there was a gap in the market, and there was somewhere that we needed to fit in, really. So before my arrival into the organisation, there was some work done to consider the way forward, really, and make up a strategy of how we could support our members more carefully. And a scoping exercise was conducted, examining the resources that were currently available in the United Kingdom for our members to engage in. And we decided that as an organisation, we could do with more help, and we recruited an education development nurse back in 2016. And also, we trained our manager in multimedia. So we wanted our resources to be of a high quality. We wanted to be able to present things in a very accessible format of a high standard. So it was important that we did all that training from the outset, really. And so it was back in August last year where our e-learning resources were finally launched and published on our website. As I say, they are exclusive to members only. And we think that's very reasonable, really. We have a very reasonable rate for membership. And so it's fine, really, that we like to encourage people to join us. And it's just fine, really, £20 a month to be able to access a range of resources and continue your professional development in this way. It is a challenge because our members are made up of quite a diverse range of knowledge. We have healthcare assistants right through to consultant nurses. And so it's very difficult and quite a challenge to ensure that the learning that we provide meets all of those needs. And so we try to start off with very basic information and build upon it. And we're very lucky as well. We have our own illustrator who we employ specifically for our work. And so our images are unique and produced specially for us. And of course, at the end of each module, we have a test your knowledge session where we can try to assess how people have, what their learning objectives, whether they've achieved their learning objectives, and they can just work through the test at the end. And on completion of that test, they're able to print a certificate with their name on, and this can be used for the revalidation process and kept in their personal portfolio. It also has space within this to document your learning achievements and what you personally have gained from the exercise. So just having a quick look at the courses that we have developed so far. We have 5 headings, really, a framework for which we have built our courses. We have the fundamentals of dermatology, practical skills, dermatological conditions, skin surgery, and case studies. So each of them have unique topics within them, and we've tried to continue to build our resources, with this framework in mind. So we'll look at what we have available so far in the fundamentals of dermatology. We have 3 courses in that section, and first of all, we have terminology. And I think it's something that we take for granted in dermatology, but it's how we explain a rash. What do we see when we look at the skin? And how effective are we at communicating with our colleagues to inform them of these things? And so terminology is enabling the learner to be able to speak effectively and clearly. We then go on to skin assessment. Again, it's the grassroots of dermatology. This where we hope that we will be signposting new nurses into departments to access basic information. And so this skin assessment, it incorporates various different accessories. We like to have a few things which are downloadable. that you can use in your own department, perhaps, to help you with the assessment process. And we've also got a module on anatomy and physiology, which takes you through the skin in depth, really. And this image is from that course, giving us the opportunity to label and get to know, at a cellular level, the different functions and purpose of the skin. Another important area for us is practical skills. And so currently within this section, we have emollients, topical steroids, paste bandages, and soon to come we will have swabs, so wound swab, viral swabs, and fungal scrapings as well. And, in the UK, we have a deficit of dermatologists, but we are also losing a lot of staff through retirement. And reconfiguration of dermatology departments, there's a real loss of experience of nurses passing on basic information to their colleagues. And so we think this is quite a helpful means of sharing that information to smaller units where there's no staff really to demonstrate these simple, everyday procedures that we take for granted. So we have paste bandages, which can be very dangerous when applied wrongly, and emollients, how to apply emollients. We have the other modules, we have dermatological conditions. So currently we just have atopic eczema on there, but very soon, within the next couple of weeks, we will also have psoriasis. And these modules are very large and extensive. They take around 3, maybe 4 hours to complete. E-learning is fabulous in that respect. You can pick it up and put it down and come back to it a little bit later where you left off before, if you're running out of time. And we want these to be really deep. As I say, we've got to meet the learning needs of a whole spectrum of nurses. And so we are looking at pathophysiology, immunology, histopathology, genetics. So we're looking at the whole spectrum of disease and therapeutics as well. So it's really detailed, and there's much in there really, a lot to learn. The BDNG also carry out a lot of regional meetings. So throughout the year, across the UK, we have lots of meetings. And one of our very popular sessions is on skin surgery. It's a 2-day course that we offer, teaching nurses how to do skin surgery. And so this module that we have on the e-learning is really consolidating that information. We don't recommend this as a means to qualifying in surgery at all. This is really to complement the 2-day teaching that we provide at the regional events. And it's, I have to say, I think very well put together. It's videoed, and so it's wonderful to be able to look closely at how suturing is done. How to infiltrate anesthetic into the skin slowly and mark up the lesion, looking at the diameter around it. It's very detailed, and you can do it at your own time. And it's I think, really helpful, just consolidating the information. And you can go home and do it on your own if you're feeling a little bit unsure of what you've gone through that day. Okay. So also case studies. We have 13 case studies at the moment. These are very short and sweet. You can just dip into them quickly. We use lots of lovely images which we get from DermNet and descriptive things relating to specific diseases, dermatological conditions. So we're helping the nurse to make an assessment and describe what they're seeing and consider the treatment pathways, come up with some differential diagnosis and a management plan. So that's nice and easy for our nurses just to dip into. And, you know, looking at the engagement, these e-learning resources have been released, you know, back in August. Some of them have been on the website a little bit longer, and you can see that they have been, you know, there's been quite a good take-up. We're really pleased with the participation of our members with them. So anatomy and physiology, we've had 234 people complete that module. That's been on there the longest. We've had, you know, 113 going through the atopic eczema terminology, and, you know, a skin assessment was the most recently put onto the module, so less people have completed that. And I'm just overwhelmed by the number of website strikes that we get. So in April 2019, we had 9,654 page reviews on the BDNG website, which is really phenomenal. And 53% of these were relating to e-learning. So we know that this is something that our members have really appreciated and participated in. We have had some very positive feedback. There's been a good level of engagement, as I say, and we'll be doing a formal evaluation with a survey monkey perhaps in August after our conference in June. And we're always very excited to hear from members. We try to engage our members with suggestions that they would like to have for future topics. So that's all I really have to say. If anybody has any questions or comments, that would be really, we'd welcome those.